Hello everybody, welcome back to another reading. Today we take a look at the case of Marsha P. Johnson, who was an American gay liberation activist and a drag queen known for being an outspoken advocate for gay rights and for being one of the prominent figures of the Stonewall uprising of 1969. They were a member of the Gay Liberation Front and co-founded the radical activist group Street Transvestite Action Revolutionaries, otherwise known as STAR, also active in the city's art scene, it says here, modeling for Andy Warhol no less, and appearing on stage with the drag performance troupe Hot Peaches. They were also known as the mayor of Christopher Street for being a welcoming presence in the streets of Greenwich Village, and she was an AIDS activist with ACT UP. Now, shortly after the 1992 Gay Pride Parade, Johnson's body was discovered floating in the Hudson River. Police initially ruled the death as self-inflicted, but her friends did not believe that, and the local community with them, stating that she had no intentions of doing anything like that, and the back of her head had a massive wound. Marsha's death occurred during a time when anti-gay violence was at a peak in New York, including biased crime by police, and Marsha was also one of the activists who had been drawing attention to the issue, participating in marches and other activism to demand justice for victims and an inquiry into how to stop the violence. She'd been speaking out against dirty cops, an element of organized crime that many believed responsible for those assaults and murders. Now, she was friends with a guy called Randy Wicker, who is an author, an activist, and blogger, and apparently was writing things that the people that might be behind certain crimes would not be very happy to read. And Marsha had commented that some of his writing might end up getting him killed, and this added to the suspicion of foul play and possible murder in her own case. Now, Marsha's body was cremated, and following the funeral, there was a march down to 7th Avenue, where her ashes were released over the Hudson River, off of the Christopher Street piers. Now, after her death, of course, there was a lot of speculation as to what had happened here. Some did believe that Marsha had taken her own life due to an increase in a fragile state that they were in. Someone else claimed that they had made a pact with Marsha to cross the River Jordan together, which then, I guess, figured that's what Marsha was trying to do in the Hudson River. Not entirely sure. Others who were close to Marsha considered the death suspicious, claiming that while she did struggle mentally, this did not manifest as suicidal ideation. Her friend Wicker said that maybe she had hallucinated and walked into the river, or may have jumped into it to escape harassers, also stating that Marsha would never actually inflict anything on herself. Now, those are all speculations, but later there were people coming forward to say that they had seen Marsha being harassed by a group of thugs who had also robbed people. According to Randy Wicker again, a witness saw a neighborhood resident fighting with Marsha on July 4th. During the fight, he called Marsha a slur and later bragged to someone at a bar that he had offed a drag queen named Marsha. The witness said that when he tried to tell police what he had seen, his story was ignored. Now, how true the story is, we don't know. I don't see anything about anybody else corroborating this witness statement. Other locals believed that law enforcement were not interested in investigating Marsha's death, stating that the case was about a gay black man, in quotations, and wanting little to do with it at the time. Though in December of 2002, so 10 years afterwards, police investigation resulted in reclassification of Marsha's death, switching from self-inflicted to undetermined. And in November of 2012, so another 10 years after, activist Maria Lopez succeeded in getting the police to reopen the case as a possible homicide. And finally, in 2016, Victoria Cruz of the Anti-Violence Project also tried to get Johnson's case reopened and succeeded in gaining access to previously unreleased documents and witness statements. She sought out new interviews with witnesses, friends, other activists, and police who had worked the case or had been on the force at the time of Marsha's death. Some of her work to find justice for Marsha was filmed by David Franz for the 2017 documentary The Death and Life of Marsha P. Johnson. While people are still very much interested in this case, there is currently no resolution, and that is why I was asked to do a reading on this case, and we're going to start off with the Urban Tarot deck, which is already on the table. And for any further questions, moving on to the Wise Dog Tarot, which is this one. So as per usual, I'm going to start shuffling the deck. As soon as I have about a table full of cards, we're going to stop and take a look. So without much further ado, let's get started. All right, let's see what we got. We're starting off with the Queen of Cups over here, top left, the Therapist, followed by the Princess or Page of Wands, and the Hacker, which is the Knight of Swords. Okay, so I feel like somebody approached Marsha with some type of sob story to get her attention, and this person was actually quite manipulative and up to no good, which is what I see with these two cards. So this would be representing Marsha's attitude at the time of seeing somebody who may need some help or something, and they were definitely known for helping people, so maybe they approached them in a certain way that made Marsha think, okay, this person just needs to talk or something. And then we have here the Dancer in reverse, or the Page of Wands in reverse, so we're up to no good. At least we're taking risks here. Maybe she's taking risks, or maybe this other person is taking risks. But anyway, the other person is being represented over here by the Knight of Swords, or the Prince of Swords, according to this Urban Tarot deck called the Hacker. Like maybe because it is a Swords in reverse that they had some plans. Maybe they didn't plan a murder beforehand, but more like the robbery aspect, because I do see the Nine of Pentacles in reverse coming up at the end there. So they may have approached them with a sob story to try and get their attention, and then maybe try to slip in their hook, or whatever you want to call that, to try and get somebody interested in giving them a bunch of money. So this looks like a confrontation with somebody who may initially not have been violent, but out to get something that doesn't belong to them. At the very least, it could be a robbery, like the startup of a robbery. But we see the Nine of Cups after that, followed by the Two of Pentacles and the Fool. So I think that they were putting Marsha in a state where they felt like they could share something. Maybe they were trying to be extra friendly, extra giving, and they try to maybe get them something, get them some help, get them some food, whatever it is this person was pretending that they needed. Like often somebody on the streets asking you for money will say, oh, I haven't eaten in a while. And then you think, oh, I'll just give them some money. And then they go and spend it on booze or something like that. Like that type of situation, I think, is what's going on here. But I feel like Marsha really tried to help them in a big way, tried to make them happy, because we have this Nine of Cups over here, which is showing a scene of people having fun by the river as well. So maybe they offered them some food, some money, some care, whatever it is that they could offer at that point. There is a bit of balance here. They're trying to strike a balance between just going with the flow and being sensible, as you can see here with the Two of Pentacles followed by the Fool. So there's half energy, like I want to trust this person. I think this will be Marsha's side of things. I want to trust this person. I want to feel like they are genuine, that they really just need help and stuff like that to get back on their feet. Like maybe they are a little rough around the edges, but we can maybe do something with that, like that type of thing. Like I'm pretty sure Marsha has seen many people over the years who needed help and just need a little push in the right direction. So she may be balancing between, should I go all out for this person, or should I just give them a few coins and send them on their way, like that type of thing. So there may have already been something in the background of Marsha's mind saying, be careful with this one, because maybe they're not all what they're saying right now, but they do want to offer some type of help. So that's the situation that we have here. I really feel like this is her standing on the street somewhere with this person, and this person is spinning a whole yarn for them, and Marsha is just trying to navigate whatever's coming out of their mouth, so to speak, while also trying to be generous enough to help them in some way. The Four of Wands is in reverse, and this card is called Completion, but I feel like this is their story breaking down. Maybe Marsha is seeing the cracks here, and not very happy about that because of the loss of harmony here. Also the incompletion of things, because the card is called Completion, so in reverse that would be the opposite of that. We have the Nine of Wands in reverse, so there is a lot of work that they feel is now wasted. This may be Marsha thinking, oh man, I thought I could help this person, and now it turns out that maybe it's a lost cause. There's nothing I could do for you. I can also feel like Marsha at this point is saying to this person directly, like, I want to help you, but right now you can't accept my help because you're too far gone, or you need to do this, you need to do that first. Like sometimes you have somebody who you know needs therapy, but they're not ready to accept it yet. So I think maybe this is them either realizing that personally, or trying to communicate that with towards this person. themselves. Although I don't see a sword here. Well, this one over here, but not in a speaking type of way that we're actually communicating this. But it could be that their actions are showing that they're not really going to do any more giving right now because they don't feel like that is going to help them in any way. We have the Ace of Cups in reverse, so this does also point towards a break in whatever emotions that was flowing between them at the time. Like whatever they thought was being started over here is being cut off. We have the Six of Swords and the Eight of Swords, followed by, like I said earlier, the Nine of Pentacles in reverse. So this Six of Swords is, normally Six of Swords is like trying to get to another location or trying to go with the flow, that type of thing, literally moving on, being led by other people's words maybe and their thoughts, maybe making your thoughts or letting your thoughts take you to other places. But I think in this case, it might be that this other person tried to redirect their mind and their thoughts in a way that was not truthful, may also have managed to trap them in some type of web there. Like the words that they were saying were keeping Marsha from, I guess, walking away. Like maybe they were being accused of something, or they were saying things that would make Marsha go, oh, well, maybe I can't leave this person alone just yet. Like this could be threats of self-harm or whatever it is that would keep Marsha from leaving right there. And then we have the Nine of Pentacles in reverse. So now we are giving up a lot more of our resources. So initially we were just trying to make them happy, trying to start a connection, and trying to be careful with our spending. But now we have a much greater loss of finances. And I also think it's very interesting that whenever this card, of course, is in reverse, it's an arrow pointing down. So like the finances or resources are going down. Could also be the robbery. Some people said that they had seen a group of thugs trying to rob people in the area that day. So this could be that this is one of the people there, that they were one of that group all along, and they had a Marsha inside as a mark the entire time. It does seem to be about gaining something from her. So it's not like, I'm not seeing intentional hatred, like that type of thing. So who knows? Also, the cards are kind of out of view. Let me just move them up a little bit so you can see the bottom parts. There we go. All right, so let's move on to the Wise Dog Tarot and see what happens next. So it looks as though there is some attempt at a robbery taking place. Oops, see, okay, that's a lot of cards. And a bunch of them are on the floor as well. I don't know if we're going to need all of these. Let's just park them over here for a moment. These four fell upwards in any case, so I think I'll just reshuffle these guys, see if there's anything extra that we might want or get from them. First, let's take a look at the four that we have in our hand. We have the Three of Pentacles in reverse. We're working against somebody working against them, making us or making Marsha less capable of taking care of the situation with the Magician in reverse. So we've got their capabilities being hampered by whatever it is that they're doing, working against them, as you can see. So that's certainly not helpful. Six of Wands in reverse. So they're also being belittled potentially. Maybe they found out who they were and there was an attack on them personally, like on whatever it is that they represent. Like this could be any type of loss of face, basically. So not necessarily physical attack. Could be like pulling on hair, pulling on clothes, ridiculing the outfit in general, or whatever it is that they thought would hurt Marsha the most, like mentally, like figuratively, that type of thing. Page of Swords, words are being spoken very harshly, very quickly, so they may be having a verbal exchange at this point, but it's upright, so I feel like we are now actually speaking the truth. So they are exchanging what they really think about this situation together. Let's take a look what we get from this little stack here, because there's at least like 8 cards here. Okay, these 3. this one fell first. So we have the tower. Okay, so now things are really coming to a head with the tower. There is a sudden change of plan that may have been the plan of the other person all along, but for Marsha, this is a big surprise. Maybe they thought like, okay, this person is not quite who they say they are, but I feel like they had the sense that they were still in control somehow. Like there's definitely a loss of control here, but more like I can get out of this. But now we're looking at a much bigger problem. All right, here we go. So they may turn out to have been addicted to something, the people that are assailing Marsha at this point. Like it's not just a case of somebody who is trying to rob her. It's also that they have certain predilections or things that make them even worse than just a plain robber. In any case, there is definitely some type of addiction or something that is tying them down. There may be a group element as well that is tying them down, like they have a leash on them, figuratively speaking, that keeps them from doing the right thing because they need to do something else. Like this, I think this combination over here could point towards organized crime, the way that it is part of like a group think type of thing. I'm looking at these two dogs with the leashes on. There's a little bit difficult to see because of the art style, but there's two very thin dogs over there that have a leash that leads up to the chihuahua that's at the top there, looking very menacing. So they may be dogs that were hired basically by whatever organization does this type of thing. So that is a bad situation right there. The Emperor is coming up. All right, so the Emperor does tend to point towards things or people who are supposed to be in a caretaking position. I often see like law enforcement as the Emperor in a lot of times, father figures, that type of thing. Community leaders can also be emperors. And so it may be that this connection, because these three fell at the same time, is that the leash over there could be a law enforcement leash or something that is pointing in that direction. Like people that should have normally have had your back are now doing these bad things, which is not strange since you did have an issue with the bad cops, which could make the whole robbery thing that we were just looking at just a cover story for what they had actually intentioned. Let's see what else we can get. Okay, Hermit in reverse. We're not actually stopping to consider anything. We're not thinking of any type of higher level thought processes, anything like that. So we're at a base level over here. But I'm also kind of looking at the city in the background. And normally the Hermit upright, I would say this person is trying to take a step back from society, but with it in reverse and the level of thinking not being like elevated or anything like that, I think that maybe these people thought they didn't really need to step out of society because that's just not what they have to do. Like they don't need to hide what it is that they're doing because they probably feel like they're in the right here with the Emperor. Page of Wands. All right, we had the Page of Wands at the start, didn't we? Yeah, there she is. So, Page of Wands again. We're taking actions and we're taking very quickly, very fiery here with that lizard over there in the corner. And that represents fire over here as well. So, maybe they did not think things through very well. I feel like this may have been almost a spur of the moment thing, like the group was out there, they were just kind of causing trouble because that's what they like to do, and now we're coming to loggerheads here, and it may be that they are taking things too far without actually planning to do that, so that was unintentional. So I feel like maybe the wound to the back of the head was not something that they had set out to do. Like, I feel like what's coming up with me right now is that maybe they were just looking to rough up a few people that they didn't like. like that type of thing, and then they took it too far. They have strength here and justice, so that's an interesting combination right here. And I feel like this may be like a double-edged sword situation type thing. Like on the one hand, Marsha may have felt that she had to be strong in order to be just for herself, like stand up for herself, and maybe also represent the people that she regularly defended in that moment. Like she wasn't going to go down without a fight type of thing. And on the other hand, I think the strength card can also sometimes be like living in a moment, like the go with the flow type of strength, and they may feel like they're also on the right side of right. So we have these two dogs here that both appear to be in equal weight, and one thinks it's right and the other also thinks it's right. So kind of like nobody's really willing to back down in this situation is what I'm trying to say. So I feel like neither side felt that they were doing something particularly wrong. They both have the reasons and they both have their own ideas of justice. Okay. And the Three of Wands. I think the Three of Wands is pointing toward the escape plan of the people involved here. This is supposed to be a road, but it can just as easily be the river as well. Yeah, I think this is pointing towards them getting rid of whatever evidence they thought that they had left behind by putting Marsha's body in the river. Maybe she was still alive at that time. I'm not really sure. I didn't read any coroner reports. What you often see with people who are dumped in a river lives, that they have water in their lungs, and the people who are already deceased by the time that they are dumped in the river will not have that, at least not as much. So I can't really say whether that was the case, but it looks as though the group that was doing that, or the people that were doing that, made their escape right here with the Three of Wands on the end of the row right there. So it looks like some type of organized group here that were up to no good, even though they seem to think that they were doing the right thing. So this is a conviction type of thing. They think that they're doing the right thing, and they may not have sought out Marsha in particular, but they are the one who this group encountered. So I think that's pretty clear. Let's see if we can find out if these people will ever end up being caught. Oops. All right, let's see. We have the journalists in reverse. This is the Knight of Wands. Okay, and then we have the Devil again. All right, so the Knight of Wands has so much fiery energy that they tend to go to bat for the things that they believe in. And this is called the journalist. So it could be that this is somebody who is regularly in the public eye in some way, or at least likes to communicate in the world. And they may be aware of the situation, but they are not reporting the correct thing. Possibly they're doing that on purpose, or their mind has gotten so warped over the years that they cannot see things objectively anymore, which is a problem because you need to gather evidence objectively and then try to put it all together without foregone conclusions and that type of thing. So maybe the people that are trying to report on this have certain colored glasses on that are making it difficult for them to see the actual truth. Or this could represent people who know the truth and are purposely not putting it out there for people to know. So they may be protecting those involved, or they may themselves be involved. I don't know. Here we have a Princess or Page of Swords. So this is called the Activist. All right. So interesting that we get that right after that. It could represent that these are the people who have those colored glasses on. Like I said, like they're barking up the wrong trees due to wrong convictions. Can also represent the group that is going to put a change to whatever this other group would then be doing. Like maybe they are going to call for some actual reporting. They're going to start calling out people's lies or inconsistencies. In any case, they are taking to the streets. As you can see, they've got their stacks of papers, flyers to hand out. and they have the megaphone to call attention to the issue. And then we have the star here, so I think this may represent light coming back into the situation. And the star is very much connected to the moon card in this deck. The moon card has, I believe, the people that are under this manhole, and they are in a very dark place with all sorts of stuff that still needs to come to light. The star appears to be climbing out of that into the light that they're reaching for, so it could be that this is something that's going to come up from way down the bottom of society, with a lot of emotions as well, because there's like a drain over there that's also spouting water, and these two bottles are also overflowing, so that's water, that's emotions, and that is going to bring a lot of emotions to the light, which the star, of course, is shining a light on. So it could be that the activism is going to have some positive effect ultimately, and there are still a lot of people looking at this case, so that is likely to happen. Oops, okay, that's a lot of cards. Hang on, some of them are on the floor, and you're over there. Let me just sort these out first. All right, we got these and we got this. Let's grab these two first because they were here first. We've got the what is now the King of Swords, because this deck does not have kings, so the Knight is the king and the Prince is the Knight, and so on and so forth. So this is the King of Swords in reverse. We're lying. We're also very strategic, as you can see. This is called the Game Master, so there may be people with a plan on the other side of the argument with the activist over here. We've also got the Eight of Cups in reverse, so they're unable to walk away from something, so they may be tied up. And we are about to put the Eight of Cups on the Devil card that I was talking about earlier, like the connections over there, so they may have a connection that is making it impossible for them to step out of this role. But in any case, it looks like people are trying to cover for something. I'm going to move these cards up because there's quite a few down here that I still need to put down. All right, then we have victory over here. Oh, that's a positive note right there. So even though there are people that are like some type of structured liars over here that are very manipulative and they have a game plan, there is some victory to be had here. And let's see, but not before actually losing a few things on the way, because we have the Five of Cups over here, which is usually like 3 cups laying fallen over with 2 cups behind the person mourning over the loss of the first 3. So it's like you may have some setbacks, but don't forget to look at the silver linings, because there is something there that you can still do things with. Then we have the Four of Pentacles, so you got to balance your resources, make sure to make everything count what you do in order to actually make something happen. And then it's time to strike out with the Ace of Wands, which is a new initiative, followed by the Knight of Cups, which is the King of Cups. So somebody is also very good at keeping people cool, I suppose. Normally this King of Cups, it does not give me a very good vibe here because there's fire behind them and they should be running. But this person, the woman, appears to be very much charmed by this King of Cups. The Seducer is also what it's called at the bottom there. And their cup appears to have like a crab in it. So that kind of represents a sting, I think. Well, crabs will pinch, but still. Normally this would be a card where somebody ought to listen to their intuition, but they are so charmed and kept in place by this charming person, the Seducer, that they tend to stay in a bad situation. But it could also mean, with all these other cards over here, that somebody steps in just when things look very, very bleak, and they may be the one taking this action over here, because this one also has a lot of fire in the background, to guide everybody in the right direction for that final home run to try and get to the truth, to the bottom of this. And who knows what that type of person is, but somebody who has a lot of charm in any case, maybe stepping in to get people to where they need to be and finally reveal the truth. So that is what I'm seeing for Marsha P. Johnson. I hope you found that interesting. In any case, make sure to leave a like and a comment. That really helps the channel along. If you want to subscribe, that's even more appreciated. I hope to see you in another video, and thanks for watching, and bye-bye for now.